This is Virtualis the Chess Noob, learning and having fun with chess. The famous composer Mozart did much of his work in the city of Vienna, and it just struck me recently that the Vienna Gambit is very much like the Mozart of chess openings. Why is that the case? Let's go take a look. Alright, so I have the white pieces, e4, e5, knight c3, the Vienna game. Black plays an unusual a6, a bit of a waiting move, seeing what I would do. And one of the things about the Vienna game is that black can sometimes be lulled into a false sense of complacency that this is a conservative, slow system. However, as we can see, you get some rapid attacking chances as well. Because of that move, I decided to just simply develop my bishop. Now, black plays knight f6. And what do we do in this position? f4, Vienna Gambit, the Mozart of chess. Mozart, Vienna Gambit, both from Vienna, both very, very good, and yet also has a fun, whimsical, almost silly quality to some of the games. They capture, push e5. Knight basically normally would need to retreat in the Vienna Gambit. Now in this game, because the bishop is already out, they did have the potential move d5, which makes the knight retreat a bad move, but they didn't see it. I now develop my knight. Basically that prevents that check with queen to h4, develop a bishop, and of course now I've got an attack on the bishop, again with a bit of tempo, and let's take that pawn. They do another waiting move here, and you will notice I'm fully developed, only one bishop on the edge of the board, short castles. And black is really in some potential problems. They now push d6 to try to attack that pawn, and here I decide to bring the bishop back because I thought next I'll be able to take the f7 pawn with a brilliant bishop sacrifice, and I thought that I needed to potentially have that double check in place as well. However, Stockfish, the always savage, thinks that in this position I can take that pawn now. And why is that the case? Well, let's see. A bishop captures pawn on f7. Now here, king, of course, has to take the bishop, and now we actually have knight to the edge of the board to h4 as a brilliant move. And it looks like the queen should be able to capture. However, it can't, because if queen captures, now you've got an attack on the queen and a discovered check on the king, and black would lose their queen. So black actually cannot capture the knight. The best move here is for black to simply develop, and now pawn captures, attacking the knight. They can capture back. Bishop captures, now with a discovered check. King moves, and at the end of that trade sequence, you win a full piece for the original loss of the pawn. So absolutely brilliant, and chess continues in this position. Now, I, as I said, didn't see that that was possible in this position, and I decided to move my bishop back first. Opponent now decides to strike out on the queen side, maybe trying to destabilize my center. That doesn't move because now I've got bishop captures pawn on f7. Brilliant move with check. King captures and double check. King forced to move out of the way, and because the opponent played h6 in their waiting move, I now have queen check moving forward. Now, oftentimes this would be checkmate, but I'm almost serendipitously, because black had opened up their queen side, the king actually potentially has an escape route. I thought here for a while, I decided to bring my rook into the attack, check, they block. Here, I decided to give another check. Very interestingly, Stockfish thinks that this is the single best move on high depth. And I just can't see why that is in fact the case, because it looks like king can just straight up capture that knight. but it is the case. The interesting thing here is Stockfish on low depth doesn't identify this to be within the top 3 moves, and yet on high depth, apparently it's the best move. You know, these are these weird computer lines. In fact, instead, I decided to play that with check. King moves to the wrong square. Knight now jumps forward with another attack with check. King now forced to move out of the way, so they obviously couldn't take because it was pinned, placing pressure on the pinned piece. Knight captures knight, and that was also with check. Now I decide to take that bishop, just to get that bishop out of the way. Happy to trade. There we go. Move the knight back out of the way, again with check. King awkwardly now temporarily safe on the A7 square. I am completely winning here as long as I don't stuff up. So pawn forward again, attacking the queen. What is black going to do? They decide to take. That's fine. Let's take the queen. They capture back, and here I am now up 6 points of material. Take that pawn. They decide to defend while also developing their knight. That was a good move. Here I capture because that rook needs to be defended by that knight. So that knight can't take that knight because I would otherwise take that rook. They decide to block that, so that was a good move. So takes, and of course now that is now defended. So let's take that pawn. That's fine. Line up my 2 rooks. They try to attack. That's fine. Move the queen out of the way. They try to attack again. And here I saw there's a potential check. Infiltrate the queen. And at this point, I had a winning position. Because basically, if I place the rook, my rook there, they're pretty much forced to have to capture back. And so the goal would be, so he takes, and then they're also forced to take. So there we go. I take that rook, they capture back. Here I decide to give a check. I'll give another check. King is now in the wrong square because they're forced to capture. Take, they take back, and a fork at the end. Good game, GG. My big takeaway from this game is to learn to play the Vienna game, and especially the Vienna Gambit, the Mozart of chess gambits. It is enormously fun, it's pretty good, and you will have a good time. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.